now the fun starts, eh? Jeez. You see, we've got a big stage, so the CEO of Anglo Platinum can sit on one side and little me sit on the other side. Good to have you. Where you sit, and I will come and encroach on you.
Okay.
So we're going to do 2 conversations before comfort break. I tried to ask all the really nasty questions of Mzila, so I'm not going to ask you who you're voting for in the coming election.
Yeah, no, that's personal, Bernard. So
that's a very good
I'll take the fifth on that one.
Yeah. So can we start? So I'm going to, if you allow me, talk a little bit about the industry, and we've had industry inputs, but you've got a very specific view as a significant player. Then I'm going to explore a few company-specific issues. I think you've got 1 or 2 mines which people are interested in. There's one hole out there north. And then I wouldn't mind finding out how the hell does it happen that we've got a CA running a mining company towards the end. You know,
Okay.
because clearly that says a lot about the cycle and how desperate we are. So now that you know it's going to be fun.
I feel suddenly unwell.
Can we start off with the cycle, the PGM market, your views, house view, personal view?
Yeah, thanks, Bernard. I think a lot has been already said this morning, and one of the things that sort of we try to work through as a company, and you ask personally, is we're a commodity business. We know cycles. Prices go up, prices come down, and we've certainly seen prices come down in 2023 much faster than we had anticipated. I think we all knew that the dizzy heights that we experienced back in 2021 and 2022 were not necessarily sustainable, but the level of reduction that we saw in 2023 was certainly far greater than what we had anticipated. But I think in terms of some of the points that we raised today around just the structural changes that are taking place in the industry, I don't think it necessarily means that the prices will necessarily go back as we had previously experienced as an industry, just given the fact that a lot of the changes taking place in terms of electrification of the drivetrain, additional supply coming to the market potentially through recycling, if that takes place. So I think we are in a different price environment. I mean, I do think, to what Neil said earlier and what the panel said a bit earlier, just in terms of the metals are amazing that we mine, that we market. They certainly are incredibly useful in various applications, be that industrial, be that in the automotive sector, be that potentially in future green metals. But I think we are going through a structural change, and as a result of that, I don't think we can necessarily just rely on prices recovering. So I am encouraged that people are now starting to talk a lot more about market development, something my company has been doing for quite some time. So I think everybody appreciates the necessity and catching up. And so I think as we've been doing market development for quite some time, and particularly also in the hydrogen space through the work that we've done with AP Ventures, together with the PIC when we created that. So I think the market development aspect is fundamentally key, and then also focusing on things that we can control in terms of supply and how we supply that, and making sure that our supply is profitable, making sure that our supply is sustainable, and that we're not injuring or killing anybody, and making sure that we actually create value for all of our stakeholders, being employees, being communities, etc. And I think that's the difference that we need to get across. And
so can I play back your public statement about the market outlook and just check that you still hold that? Amplats expects prolonged deficits in platinum, a surplus in palladium, and the rhodium market to move back into balance in 2024. I think that's a quote from your results recently. Is that your view still?
Yeah, that is our view. We do think that the OEM, the OEM stocking that took place during COVID, during the chip shortage, and then with the invasion of the Ukraine, that certainly saw increased levels of inventory. And we think that destocking is taking place. We're closer to the end, I think, than the beginning of that destocking. And so you should start to see some of the prices re-rate, which I think was sort of what people indicated in your first question in terms of when is that likely to take place. It's probably a year out. You'll see some sort of price recovery.
So PGMs is actually a basket of metals. We've been taught over the many years. But if we just talk of it as a cycle, are we near the bottom of the PGM cycle?
Yeah,
closer to the bottom than the top. That's an obvious statement.
Yeah. I certainly think that I think from a sustainability perspective, and in order to continue to encourage, disciplined capital investment into the industry, you will need to see prices recover. So I would say that, they are probably closer to the bottom, but I think it comes back to the basket price again. And so, we're pointing to Palladium being in surplus in 2025 and 2026. I don't think we're unique in that view. So I do think you're going to see sustained pressure on Palladium, but the potential that you'll see from a platinum perspective is certainly encouraging. So I would hope prices do re-rate, but it comes back to what are we doing as a business? As a business, we need to make sure that we can control the things that we can, and that really sort of drives sort of the reset that's taking place in Anglo Platinum at the moment.
So I'm expecting 4 CEOs to sit here and tell me a story which happens to match their current portfolio of assets to some extent, rhodium, or palladium, or platinum. Is your current portfolio servicing the PGMs market as it develops, or as it currently is? And on top of that, you've got less and less flexibility. You're one big mine and a little bit of other production. So is your flexibility to feed the market what it's looking for the same? Are you adjusting? Is it a strategic consideration?
So we think that the current portfolio is certainly matches sort of what that we see from a demand perspective and what we see from a customer demand perspective. So that certainly is key for us. I think once again, back to that uncertain market outlook, making sure that you have assets that are certainly well positioned in the lower half of the cost curve, and you can ride through these commodity cycles is fundamentally important. So, and we think that that's part of the portfolio that we have, and particularly that portfolio is sort of not only from mining to all the way through the downstream, and we've invested quite heavily in that over the last couple of years, and I think that sets us up well for the future.
Can we talk a little bit more about the industry? I mean, when I was young, many years ago, obviously, Anglo Platinum in its previous sort of lives was the clear industry leader and led the industry in market development, things like that. Has that changed, or are you still comfortable to be the leader in some areas, and how does the collaboration work? I mean, 5 of you can come together and get things done. Do you ever come together? Not to collude, but to construct things.
I think we do come together. Do we come together as effectively as we could? Possibly not. I think there's probably more opportunity.
Is this Neil for that. Or Paul or Nico? Who's that fellow? Call their names. I'm going to put the question to them. So just,
I do think, back to market development, I think, there is a huge opportunity for us to collaborate. I think we have less capital to be able to deploy into market development, and I think we need to be a bit more deliberate in terms of how we do that. So I think there is a greater opportunity for us to particularly sort of drive that particular part of the industry. I think there are also other aspects, be that from a health and safety perspective, from a mining. There's certainly, I think there's definitely opportunities there, without necessarily corroborating around supply and demand.
Is this an area where, as such a South African focus story, where the government could have played a bigger role, or is it the case of thank God they're not more involved in this market development space? I mean, would they be a positive, or are we better off without their involvement in market development?
Look, I think any support around market development would be absolutely welcomed from a financial perspective. You say the South African government, look at the PIC. The PIC sort of invested, the 100 million into AP Ventures. That's a meaningful investment. So I do think that they, through the PIC, recognizing the importance of creating future demand for PGMs, has been recognized. I think just any broader participation in the development would be welcomed. We just need to make sure that it's appropriately structured and deliberate and focused in the right areas.
So you and perhaps Alex Membere later in the day are uniquely, like you're a listed company, but you really need to take one phone call. If it's a London number, you recognize it, you get your dividend instruction, things are clear. Talk to us about there must be advantages and disadvantages to your positioning as a division of a multinational diversified company. And all your predecessors have been fired after they've answered the question.
So I could be the shortest lived CEO of Anglo Platinum.
Natasha's gone on and Chris has gone on, so now it's your turn.
Hey, look, I've been with the group for 24 years. So
34.
24. Jesus, no, 24. So I certainly am an Anglo American person through and through. Look, there are. I think the benefits of being part of the Anglo American group far outweigh any of the complexities that may be perceived to exist out there. I just think the access to either human resources, technical resources, some innovative thinking, leading practices in sustainability are significantly more than what we would be able to develop had we been on our own. And so, I think having that relationship with the group is fundamental in terms of how we sort of take things forward and how we lead in the industry. And so I welcome sometimes the call from London, and also just having the challenge I think is really important for us to think through things differently in terms of what we've done. If we just think from a health and safety perspective, I think Anglo American has certainly led a number of the changes in the South African industry, and I'm really delighted that the industry has sort of got on the bus with us and taking us forward. And so I think it's a real positive.
And I suppose your boardroom meetings doesn't waste time on battery minerals and other metals and so on, because you are clearly only focused on, you are the PGM division of a diversified, and your mandate will never extend beyond that?
Look, our swim lane is quite clear. So we are a PGM producer. That's where our expertise is. That's what we know what to do. And I think that certainly helps drive a certain capital allocation that we have as a business. And so, while we're not necessarily thinking through alternative metals or alternative jurisdictions, our focus is on extracting the most value that we can from the PGMs that we mine, and returning the earnings from that back to shareholders, be that my parent company or be that the shareholders here in South Africa or other parts of the world. So the ability to be able to focus on PGMs and do that well, from a mining perspective, from processing perspective, and then also in market development, I think certainly sets us up uniquely, and being very, very disciplined in terms of what we do with the earnings that we generate as a business.
If we change sort of gears to the sort of operational stuff, and again, I'm purely quoting from your publicly disclosed sort of information. Can we deal with the three issues quickly? The one is the restructuring cost savings. Mm-hmm. And your 5 billion target or achievement. Just give us a bit. Are you done? Are you well on track? I mean,
No, we're not done. Just to be clear, we set out the program at the end of last year when we had we provided our 3-year guidance. We said that we've taken certain decisions in terms of how we will allocate capital back into the business, and that discipline again. So there are a number of projects that we weren't going to continue to progress. The massive expansion of Mogalakwena was one of those. And so we saw sort of a very significant change in market outlook. So we are continuing to invest in the underground there. But then we also realized that we need to drive much greater efficiency from the business. I think we've got quite fat. We became not as productive as we were a number of years ago, and that then caused us to course correct. So no, we've started the process. We announced in February around the restructuring from a headcount perspective. So that's about 17-20% of our headcount that will be that we're looking at reducing. And that process is underway. And then there is a broader efficiency and cost drive that we have. And so that'll continue to evolve over 2024 and into 2025.
It also sounded to me, reading through it, as if Amandelbult was a place where a lot of bloodletting took place, significant, like up to 40% labor cost reduction or so. Sorry, I'm maybe misquoting, but that's, yeah.
No, look, I mean, I think we've seen Amandelbult's performance deteriorate for various reasons over the last number of years. And we've seen sort of productivity levels reduce from around about 30%. So yes, there is a significant focus around resetting Amandelbult and how we drive greater efficiencies there. And that's particularly focused at Dishaba, actually. So we've got a large proportion of the headcount reduction is at Amandelbult and is at Dishaba, although it's sort of across the rest of the organization. But yeah, there is an opportunity for us to reset Amandelbult and get it to where it needs to be.
So, I mean, 25 years ago, if Anglo Gold made that type of announcement, I would have been phoning Bobby and said, your R1 offers and the post. And, I would have offered to buy Amandelbult of him. Can I come and buy it from you for R1 or not yet?
No, I don't think I'd necessarily take your call, Bernard. Not for R1.
Okay, $1, an ounce of gold. Does Mogalakwena fit the bill? I mean, you've become, not Mogalakwena, but Amandelbult. I'll give you R2 for Mogalakwena. Amandelbult. Does Amandelbult fit the bill? I mean, you've become Mogalakwena, is Amandelbult longer term part of the portfolio?
So Amandelbult certainly at the moment is cash generative. It's got good exposure to some of the commodities that we spoke about earlier in terms of the platinum, the ruthenium, the iridium, etc.
I'm just smiling because you are really not answering me. But nobody expected an answer.
Exactly. So I'm not disappointing you. But importantly, I think it's how we think through the portfolio and how we utilize the portfolio in order to be able to make investments where we think there is a longer term future in terms of from a mining and a processing perspective.
So I'm totally embarrassed that I don't really appreciate Mogalakwena. It's a big hole and it is apparently phenomenally successful. But I read about grade. Is it an issue? I mean, why are you commenting on the grade of Mogalakwena? Are there concerns about it? Just bring us up to speed with the Mogalakwena grade.
Yeah, so Mogalakwena is, as you all know, is a phenomenal resource, and I know you don't like to hear about polymetallic, but it is, and it certainly is. We think it has a huge potential, and particularly where we're sort of looking at investing now in terms of the potential underground at Mogalakwena, and the grade there is phenomenal. Potentially 50 double what we're currently extracting today. The grade challenges that we've had at the moment are particularly just short term, in terms of where we are in the pit. The grade the pit grade is variable, and we're mining through that at the moment. So the grade reduction that we've had of between 2.7 and 3 grams per ton, that's temporary. It's for the next few years, and ultimately, you'll see the grade recover back to where it's been previously. No, I mean, we're certainly not concerned about Mogalakwena's grade. Problem. No.
Now I can hide behind the public questions for my sarcastic questions. It's so nice. I'll even expose them when they give their name. So David Mackay says, I don't think it's a question, Anglo CEO Duncan Wanblad says, nothing is off the table in terms of a group asset review. What is the probability of the group imposing portfolio changes?
I think As you would expect, we continue to evaluate the portfolio. I certainly think that the work that we have underway in terms of driving the operational excellence, driving the efficiencies that we have, will certainly set the assets up to be a sustainable part of the portfolio. But we need to go through that work that Duncan has commenced, and whatever the outcome is of that, we'll then work into an action. But I'm certainly really encouraged by the work that we're doing, and I think it does set us up for success in the future.
I think it would have been inappropriate if we did not deal with the sort of question, and all the CEOs will be getting this, and it comes from a Paul. Paul, what is the socio-economic impact of the downturn, jobs, social investments, dividends to the community, and are there any mitigation measures for this massive shock? I suppose a town surrounding Amandelbult must be in a state of shock. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on mitigation that a company like yours can do?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, any job loss, we know the impact that has in South Africa, and the broader impact on society. And so certainly part of what we're doing in terms of the mitigation is how we then scaling up some of our social response plans as an organization, either through retraining or other financial support, support for families. And it's multifaceted. We're also, looking at suppliers and how do you create sort of other opportunities. So we are very acutely aware of the impact, and part of our response and part of the discussions that we're having with organised labour and our employees and with government is just how we're responding in that particular space. So it's something that we have been doing and will continue to do, and particularly focused around those areas most impacted through the headcount reduction.
Thinking of you as a chartered accountant, I thought I'd better be gentle with you. I mean, typically you guys didn't study that because you like people to start with. So I'm trying to be sensitive here. I mean, like it's hard. But so what makes you the right guy now? Were you the last man standing? No, seriously. But why now? What
the last idiot.
What's behind your set skill and where the company is right now?
Yeah, so look, I mean, I appreciate that it's unique to have a finance guy heading up a mining company.
No, it calls the bottom of a cycle always. That marked the bottom.
Look, I think I'm not unique. There are been successful CFOs who have transitioned into the CEO role. So I think from what I've described in terms of when we spoke earlier around the industry is going through a structural change. It's going to require a diverse set of skills. And importantly, what I need to do is lead an organization that brings all those skills together and helps us implement the change and navigate the current challenges and accelerate some of the opportunities. And I think, as I said, I've been with Anglo for 24 years. So while I'm not a mining engineer or a chemical engineer, I am a dangerous engineer, because I've learned from everybody, and I now have the ability to be able to ask questions and see sometimes when I don't necessarily reconcile with what I've previously heard and been told. So, it is just really around leading a team and making sure that you've got the right team in place to be able to support the delivery of the strategy.
I'll introduce you to that other guy who calls himself an engineer through prior learning and exposure, Gwede. So, those of us who've wasted time on varsity should just have stuck around. I'm still trying to get you fired. So, if you reflect from where you sit now, and you look back at Anglo Platinum, key decisions, good ones and bad ones, and really it's not meant to be so controversial, but clearly, any company after 30, 40, 50 years, if you could go back, you would say that was a smart decision or not optimal. Any such reflections on Anglo Platinum?
Yeah, I think, I do think the smart decisions not taken by my predecessors. So I've got
But the bad ones were also still taken by
But I just think the quality of the portfolio of the assets that we have is fantastic, and the work that's been done in terms of that end-to-end value chain, I think is certainly sets us up uniquely as an organization. I think the decisions that we've taken around, in terms of the strategic pillars that we have today, in terms of, thriving through this change, being agile. I think we've got some work still to do in that particular space, but I think it does set us up successfully into the future. The work that we've done around market development, we've been at that for a long, long time, and that's paid dividends for us, and I think it will continue to pay dividends into the future. I think the work that we have around being disciplined in our capital allocation, and how we look to deploy that capital in the asset portfolio that we have, I think is sound. And then finally, just how we think through the rewarding of all stakeholders. And I think, the discipline that we have in terms of how we return, dividends back to shareholders. And it's not just, the team in London. It is, our employees who are all shareholders of our business, the communities through our Alchemy scheme, are shareholders. And they all get to see the benefits of what that, of the benefit of that translating back into their areas of influence. So I think the way that we've set the business up in the last number of years certainly will help propel us forward into the future.
But now, if there was a proper process and I got the job, which obviously I should have, I would have been more critical of your past. So no criticism. It's all perfect. Just fantastic stuff.
No, and I genuinely, I think people make the decisions based on the time.
There's a context.
There's a context, and I think you always need to appreciate that. Yeah. And I genuinely can't think of, something that, fundamentally I would have done differently to where we position today. I think there are certain things that you may have done differently if you had perfect hindsight.
I would have taken Mogalakwena underground because I don't understand open cast mining, but that's just me.
Yeah, but I don't, as we know, just going underground by tomorrow morning at 8 is not necessarily that feasible. That's what you mining people tell me all the time. So I think we need to just make sure that we've set it up correctly.
I want to come to this. You knew it was going to come. It's this whole hydrogen hype or hope, but we can talk about that tomorrow. So, has this truck moved yet? That truck is like my bell. It doesn't want to move at all. Has it moved yet?
Yes, the truck has moved.
More than once?
Yes, yeah.
Is it moving right now?
No.
Okay. Ladies, gentlemen.
No, can I please explain? Before I do get fired.
Will it move again?
I think yes, it will move again. It won't move in the form that you saw it, because so it didn't just move the day the president was there, and was very excited about it. It actually did spend a considerable amount of time in the pit and proving the proof of concept. So we did prove that actually, it was battery operated going into the pit and fuel cell powered coming out of the pit, and we were able to prove that concept. Very successfully, even with several loads, and so that I think the proof of concept absolutely worked. Where it's gone now into the next phase of development. So why it's not moving today, it has been disassembled and moved across to North America for the next phase of testing. What does that next phase look like? It's probably going to be a bit of a hybrid. And so it will be battery powered initially, and then still diesel, and then ultimately, as you start to get more and more momentum around the application of hydrogen, we'll see it then transitioning back to a hybrid fuel cell powered.
I love that project. Every year I can ask the same sarcastic question. Come back next year for more progress on the truck.
Yeah, no, sometimes I wish that truck had...
Ladies, gentlemen, thank you
very much. Thanks, Bernard. Thanks very much.
I'm sure the guy who's looking most forward to a public interaction with me, Meneer Nico Muller, come join us. I tell you, you guys don't know what I do for the industry. There should be a special Gatlek award. Ask Leak award. I have to beg people to come on this platform, and nobody more so than Nico Muller. And yet here you are, a significant PGM producer who will now tell us, where the hell are we on this cycle?
Craig was way too happy on the stage.
Yeah, no, but he's got a high-grade mine, unlike you. So. Where are we in this cycle? Talk to us.
So, I mean, it's clear that the market has bottomed out over the last 6 months. It's my firm belief that we are forecasting fundamental deficits in the market, tight rhodium market. So, I mean, I'm not expecting the prices to decline further from this point. Everyone is waiting for the rate cuts in the US.
And are you comfortable to say that for the key components of the basket, platinum, palladium, and rhodium?
No, I think similar to Neil and some of the other spectators, we are more bullish on platinum, less so on palladium long term. But I mean, I think all indications are that the markets are going to have some price support going into the medium term. We're not expecting anything short term, and I suppose the further the rate cuts get pushed out, the further the expected price support is being delayed. And so, our business strategy is based on an expectation of prices remaining where they are for certainly this year, with some expectation of growth in the forthcoming years, with potentially some long-dated risk depending on the evolution of hydrogen and electrification.
So each CEO is going to help us understand your specific approach to surviving. And it's a wrong word. But, I mean, we are where we are in the cycle. And how are you positioning Implats to get through this, or to even grow through, or continue to invest? Or just give us the Implats positioning.
Now, I probably need to do that in two parts. One is that a company's direction is informed by a belief system. And if you look at what the company has done, is we have a belief that there is going to be a long-term market. We believe that there is going to be alternative needs for our products developed. So we announced a 50 billion rand capital investment program to strengthen the business a couple of years ago. And so everything that the company is doing, I mean, it's done two major acquisitions in the last few years. It is premised on a belief of long-term prosperity for the PGM industry. And we hope to attract the attention of investors that share those views. And so at a strategic level, we are paying attention to life expansions at critical assets. We are particularly investing in deep bottlenecking our processing division, particularly the smelting base metal refinery capacity, because we believe that there are strategic advantages to doing that in the long term. And also, we have managed to geographically diversify our footprint from South Africa to Canada, which is important. But then navigating through the downturn, the process consists of three parts. There's firstly optimization, then there's repositioning, and by repositioning I'm talking about changing operating strategies, and then last in that phase would ultimately, if required, be portfolio optimization. And so let me just talk through that. If you look at our results for the last reporting period, we were really blessed by getting strong operational support from our assets. Our refined production increased by 4%, and if you include Bafokeng, it increased by 18%. Our unit costs were really well maintained. It went up by 3%. And in some really critical assets like Impala, it actually declined year on year. And we have started reducing the labor count. It reduced by 3% over the last 6 months, as a consequence of the price environment. So strong production, very well managed cost increases, which is way below mining inflation. We announced during our last interim results a reduction of 20% of our previously announced capital footprint. So those are all optimizations. But then sometimes that's not enough, and so then you have to advance to the next level of tactic. So, and let me use Canada as an example. Pure optimization of Canada. So just mining more efficiently and reducing cost, less tea and coffee would not cut it as a consequence of where the palladium price is positioned. So there we were necessitated to review the operating strategy. So we essentially prioritized higher grade areas. We have already reduced our labor complement, from 900 to 700. So we've had to change the operating strategy at that particular asset. And in many of the other areas, it is capital allocation, is investment decisions where that is a big part of the cost base. So we have made decisions not to do important projects such as the North Hill project at Mimosa. We have decided to stagger the phase 2 project at Marula. There are some questions being asked about the Marinsky project at Two Rivers. So those are big things. In the end, what we have to do is preserve long-term sustainability of the company in terms of cash neutral, cash positive position. And we have previously declared that we will not support negative or cash loss ounces. And that brings me to the last point. So to the extent that prices force or results, notwithstanding all of our actions, the operations do not have a foreseeable cash neutral, cash positive position, then the company will have to evaluate potential suspension of operations where required.
So, I mean, that's not a comment of yours about cutting tea and coffee won't do it. Is that aimed at any specific past incidents where you heard about it? I just want to say, I mean, many years ago when that was done, somewhere near me, it was actually a safety instruction because we were feeding the people coffee. And clearly that was not safe or healthy, and therefore we cut the coffee. So all these sarcasms is lost on me, I'm just saying. So Nico, when you talk about the capital projects that you've rephased, curtailed, does that speak to your 50 billion claim minus 20%? Is that a 10 billion deferment, net cut, just a little bit more on your capital? Because there's a 50 million number and a minus 20%, and you've listed a few projects.
Yeah, so I mean, our capital forecast for the next 5 years was 60 billion, and it has been reduced to 50 billion.
Okay.
So it is 10 billion cut. Just coincidentally, that is associated with some reduction in production forecast. Because I mean, one of the issues during these times is always industry discipline and how are we matching our supply to the demand. So part of the capital cut will see a forecasted reduction in output, roughly 300,000 ounces of existing production, and that possibly is in the form of Impala Canada from 2026 going forward, and 30,000 ounces from Mimosa, and then there is forecasted expansion of production, potentially the 180,000 of Marinsky at Two Rivers and 30,000 at Marula. So if you net all of that together, it is 300,000, which is roughly 8% of our production, and another 210,000, which is another 6%. So it's roughly 14% of what we had aimed at producing for the next 5 years is being impacted. In addition to that, there is the big question of Bafokeng. It's a ramp-up business. We've got specifically the issue of stale drift, and we are currently going through a process of evaluating the best course of action. We currently have a mine that is fully resourced, therefore it has a very high cost base and is operating at 70% of production. And one of the options is, for instance, to reduce the cost base to match the current production rate and to develop efficiency and improve production capacity over a period. And so there may be, once we have finished the evaluation, there may be a further minor adjustment in forecasted supply.
So I'll be asking Paul, obviously. He locked in an 800 million rand loss on that little endeavor. Your loss is still open-ended, or is there potential? Any regrets about the Bafokeng transaction?
You're talking about winner's remorse. So
sometimes you catch the bloody bus you are chasing, and now you're blowing the exhaust pipe. Huh?
So the wisdom, so I mean, if you just look at value, the assessment of wisdom in any transaction is determined at the point of evaluation. So, I mean, if you look at, if you had to judge the decision today based on forecasted future cash flows, you would say it was an incredibly stupid investment. But we are in a cyclical business, and so when we make investment decisions, we cannot make it based on price variations over a year or two. So you have to understand the strategic value of the asset, of acquiring the last remaining quality marine resource in the Western Limb, which is contiguous to our existing Impala asset, which has a limited life, and in the absence of a base load that we are able to feed through our smelters, will have a life of 7 years or less. And so I am very happy to be criticized at this point, where the market is at the moment, but I am very, very convinced that 30 years from now, when we look back, long investors will have accrued the value from that acquisition, because it makes absolutely sense for our company.
So perhaps instead of then the specific decision around the Bafokeng acquisition, you've been like 7 years in the job. If you were to look back, benefit of hindsight, good decisions, bad decisions.
I think, well, firstly, I would prefer to buy assets at the bottom of the cycle. I mean, we bought Canada and we bought RB Plats, I think, in less than efficient conditions. You know, the competitive process at RB Plats, the longevity of that, of you know, the length of time that it took, and the price point at which it took, I think is unfavorable. Similarly, with Impala Canada, it would have been better to have bought it today than have bought it, you know, in 2019. So I think one of the learning lessons I hope as a company that we learn is how to develop the capability of efficient M&A in order to support the company's strategic objective, and part of that has to be a more efficient funding strategy and funding capability. So I would have preferred to pay shareholders lower dividends in the high time to accrue far more cash reserves to make more acquisitions in lower times, or to have an alternative funding methodology so that you don't, as a company, go through these boom or bust times. So when the prices are low, we are so poor we can't buy a corner cafe, let alone another PGM asset. And so, you know, if you want to execute into the philosophy of buying at the low end of the market
and investing through the cycle.
I mean, as a company, you have to develop the capability of doing that, because whilst it's philosophically sensible to execute it from a financial capability point of view, is less so. I mean, people often ask, why didn't we buy RB Plats earlier? Well, we couldn't, or there were other, obstacles. So that's the one thing. Also, I think if I could turn back the clock, I probably would have recommended to our board a far stronger investment in market development. And I'll just take the Chinese jewelry market as an example. I mean, no matter what we've done, and Implats have done quite a bit, and we've done, switching projects with BASF, and we are invested in AP Ventures. But every dollar that we invest, I think, will have a fundamental return long term. And if you are faced with an existential threat of electrification, you better find alternatives. And I wish that we had made far more rapid progress, in the past decade. So I think those are probably the two biggest learning areas for me personally. And
if you sit with this 24-year-old ex-shareholder of yours from Coronation in Cape Town, do they understand capital allocation between market development and dividend? I'm just sarcastic to everybody, equal offender.
Yeah, so I mean,
there's a trade-off to be made.
So I think that there are natural tensions between shareholders or investors who are seeking financial returns, and over timelines which are, I think, slightly misaligned from the time horizon over a capital-intensive, long-lead industry. So, I mean, so when we make decisions, I mean, it takes 10, 15 years to build a mine. It takes 2 years or 3 years to do a transaction. The investment decision takes a long time to make. So what a shareholder would like to see is, well, when the prices go down, shut down production. When it goes up, start up production and modify your business. But the nature of the industry does not often allow that. So even the issue of capital allocation and how you allocate, for instance, the decisions about do you invest in the business or do you strengthen the balance sheet, or what percentage do you give to shareholders in boom times. And I understand Coronation's frustration. They would have liked to see a far stronger dividend flow during the boom times and would have been very happy to forego the 50 billion capital investment program that we announced. But the consequence for us as a company of doing that is that 30 years from now, there would be no implants left. I mean, so we need to understand the tension between investors and the nature of the company and balance those priorities as well as we can.
So I've got lots of specific questions coming through, but that gives me the opportunity to sort of change gears a bit. So implants is big and significant, and you feel could play an even bigger role in the industry. You've got a portfolio of assets which we sort of spoke to. So your own specific contribution at Implats. Talk to me about your leadership style, and perhaps if you're bold enough, what works well and what doesn't work. I mean, so can we talk a little bit about the stuff you so like talking about yourself? Your favorite topic.
Yeah, if we have that conversation, this will be the last one.
I'm getting fired again.
I think what is better is to talk, I mean, not my personal leadership style, I'm not sure I have one, but...
it's quite crappy, I'm led to believe.
I think, let me talk about implants and how I'm experiencing the company and the things that I value. The one is the relationship between management as a team. I mean, it's really important that you are aligned, that you have got similar risk appetites, that you've got similar values, similar aspirations about personal development, company development, where you'd like to see, I mean, that you have the ability to align on whether you diversify or not. And then the other important thing is I think that the extent to which you can align with the board, because I mean, those two elements, I mean, that's where the areas where I operate mostly, and I am most happy when we have got absolute harmony at that level in the company. Then I think being in good standing with some of your key stakeholders, and I mean government, communities, unions, it is really important. It is really important in tough moments. When you have to make decisions that are not necessarily favorable to a particular constituency, if you can navigate through those processes with a degree of trust and transparency, which you know is in the absence of which then you end up with huge impacts on the business. So I think for me the alignment, harmony, transparency, seeing the world in the same way, and having similar aspirations, I think that is very useful.
But now those other skills, unless they change the course in the 10 years since I went and studied mining engineering and when you went, perhaps 15 years, I mean, that's very technical. We come out of there technically qualified. Well, so we think. Then the mine captain teaches a few tricks. But the people skills, how did you get it, and how do you help others to get that? The other skills, all the soft skills, the leadership skills, whatever you want to call it.
Well, there's a big assumption.
I started out by saying your style is whatever.
No, I think, I think fortunately in the mining industry, you are forced into a team dynamic from the very first job when you start as a learner miner. And so I mean, I'm not sure that I've ever been in a role where my success has been determined by who I am or what I do. It's always been in a team environment. So, it's useful to have an affinity for a team environment if you are in the mining industry. But, my learnings are and development comes from the people that I work with. And so it's really useful when you have got people that are skilled in these areas. Because I think I'm perfect, but I'm not, and I get guided a lot by the team that I operated in, both the board and my own team, and often subordinates, and it's quite useful that you have a dynamic where that can happen.
So I heard about you as a youngster with some potential, which obviously was a lie, through Gerard Potgieter. I think you at some stage worked for him. He worked with you. So, I mean, can we talk at that level of, so there are individuals who impact on you. Initially, perhaps as your mentor, your coach, your technical boss, and later as part of a capacity. I mean, I observed that relationship and I thought, there's some magic there.
Well, I mean, I think that's useful for everyone. I mean, all of us are navigating through our little journey, and it is a personal experience, even if you are in teams, and that has been very useful for me to have. Like, I'm not easily coachable. I mean, I typically am.
No shit, eh?
So, I mean, I'm not professional.
I'm going to put that on Twitter at least. I mean,
but so I'm not proud of it. But I often think that if you can coach me, why are you not doing my job? And so that I generally get to that point. But where I've been very fortunate is to have had specific people, individuals that have that as I grew up were inspirational to me, and people like Gerard, and I can mention a few mentors that have happened over the past, but it's by natural coming together and natural guidance, and I think those of us who do experience that are very, very blessed, and we should cherish every one of those moments and opportunities.
I was surprised. I mean, at one of the recent conferences, I saw PDK Robinson, who was big in my life. He was in the audience. And I acknowledged him personally as well. There was a critical point in my career where he set me up for success. And he didn't even recognize that as a moment that was significant. For him, it was just what he did. And sometimes that's what happened. As you have a profound impact on somebody's life. And they see you as the guy who changed their lives, and for them it was, but that's my day job. I mean, that's how PDK came across, and I was like half disappointed because he was so big in my life, and I was just another guy in his life, and yet, but that is the impact of leadership. So,
sorry, just, I mean, I'm not sure why we're discussing this, but
because this is the last time you're on a panel because I asked you a personal question, so that's why we're discussing.
But one of the bizarre things for me is some of the inspiration and learnings that I've had is not been from people that have been above me. I mean, I can remember being a section manager and having a mine captain that was disabled, that couldn't go underground, who's probably the best, most competent oak that I've ever worked with in my life. And so, I've not often, but sometimes learn from union individuals and the bravery that they go through, because I mean, if you look at the organized labor world, there are deaths, and so when you have got the Marikanas and things, and so the bravery of individuals that is actually seen as an adversary, but so I mean, guidance and learnings are not always from industry leaders.
Yeah. So we've got specific questions, and I want to use the 5 minutes for some quick feedback questions. So 11 shaft, publicly you've said there's a recovery road. Where's the whole man cage safety incident, and has there been learnings from it? I mean, that was a disaster. How are you reflecting on that?
So the first thing that I'll say is that we have the immediate priority for us. There were a few priorities, but one is to ensure that no other mining operation in our business is exposed to a similar risk. So we stopped all of the mining operations. We assessed the risk and made sure that we eliminate that. Secondly, the care for every individual, not only the 13 employees' lives that we lost, but also the other 72 that got injured. So we've got a very extensive care program, and that is ongoing. There are some of the employees that are emotionally traumatized that are still not back at work, and so family support and all of that is going on. In terms of an understanding of what transpired, I think that we have done an excellent job to try to find out the basic causes and the root cause of the accident. And what I can say is it's not as a consequence of a rope failure. It's not a consequence of inadequate investment, capital investment, or inadequate maintenance. There was no mechanical safety device in the shaft that failed. It is a consequence of an error between the electronic safety systems that govern the operation of the motor and the winder. And we had been doing maintenance on that system, and there is an error that occurred in the maintenance work and in terms of how we dealt with the trip that happened whilst people were in the man carriage. So I think we understand the problem very well. We are developing methodologies, practices, and standards to avoid that in future. And to the extent that we have a definitive outcome, our intention is to share that with the entire industry to make sure that it's not an Implats issue, but that we improve safety for the entire industry.
Quick question, how's it going with the BE deal signed with Honda?
We are very happy with the relationship. I mean, they do have a presence in the industry. They are an operator, so they are a real industry partner.
And they were part of the Bafokeng transaction?
They were part of the Bafokeng transaction. And I mean, we spend a lot of time with them. Landandi and the team got the exact same expectations, value system towards us. They have a presence in the Western Limb. They've got a strong presence with communities, very strong relationship with employees. So we feel that they are going to be not only a paper partner, but they will be able to add value to the business as well.
What's happening at Two Rivers Merensky? Is it going or not? I know you touched on it, but the question came after your comment. So, Two Rivers Merensky.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say right now. We're going to go into a board meeting tomorrow on the issue that the two partners has to evaluate it. I mean, what is true is that the conditions at Two Rivers has changed. If you look at when the decision was made, we are navigating an increasing amount of split reef. Therefore, there's grade dilution. Therefore, the cost per ounce is reducing. I mean, the prices have declined, so the economic viability of the Merensky has to be questioned. And between African Rainbow Minerals and ourselves and the operational team of the mine, we are currently evaluating the decision to the extent that there's any change of direction. I mean, that will be communicated by both companies.
Chem Tekiso asks, how are your key stakeholder, government, labour communities responding to the current operating landscape and decisions the company has to make to survive the current cycle? Similar question I asked to, I'm going to ask it to all the CEOs. Stakeholder management in these sort of times.
Yeah, I mean, it is unfortunately correct that in these times, any employment opportunity that's lost has an impact. Our ability to invest beyond compliance is impacted. We have to cut back on everything. And so one of the key, the important things is transparency, is frequent engagement. I mean, we have got a very well developed engagement strategy. I personally, was part of the Bafokeng strategy session a month or two ago, and we discussed things, and we always look at ways to alleviate the issue. One example is Bafokeng as a nation, which I'm just talking about the largest footprint. They used to be, so the sovereign wealth of the nation was dependent on the PGM industry. So they diversified into financials, thankfully, and they now have further aspirations to develop, for instance, renewable energy. We operate on their land, and we've got the lease for the land, but we are now combining our efforts to develop economic opportunity to do joint solar installations, which they will own and manage, but we will be an off-take partner. So there are those economic opportunities that we think enables us to offset some of the negative impact of the low price environment.
We are now standing between our audience and coffee, so quickly. According to Catherine from JP Morgan, she says, she doesn't give me permission to use her work, but it is publicly available. She says Impala has amongst the highest EBITDA sensitivity to rising spot prices, given its higher fixed cost base. Then she goes on to say, and that's negative because she sees downside. So you're the marginal producer, and therefore you pray for a higher price, and all your views are informed by that, self-servingly.
Yeah, I mean, Gaston is not incorrect. I mean, the bulk of our asset base is at the higher end of the cost curve, or it used to be. It is improving, but we are highly leveraged, which is why we're a good share to own.
What can I say after that? The audience earlier said you are their third choice of platinum share to invest in, but none of them are investing anyway. Ladies, gentlemen, it's worth me licking his ass every single time to bring him back, because I think it's a very good input. Meneer Muller, thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.